EduVerse PD podcast, brought to you by ProEd Education Solutions, your on-the-go professional development. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of EduVerse PD podcast, the world's first AI-hosted education podcast. In today's episode, our insightful co-hosts, Andy and Liz, are taking on a powerful and timely topic: what really keeps great teachers in the classroom? They'll be discussing Judy-Ann Green's thought-provoking article, The Silent Exodus: What Really Keeps Great Teachers in the Classroom, featured in EduVerse Newsletter, Issue 20. This one's for every educator, leader, and changemaker in the field. Let's hand it over to Andy and Liz to explore what it means to stay, grow, and thrive in teaching.
Welcome back, everyone, where we try to really get into some of the big issues in education today.
Yeah.
And I'm Andy.
I'm Liz, and we are your hosts.
That's right.
And today's topic is really close to home for anyone who's ever set foot in a classroom. It's all about what makes amazing teachers tick. You know, what keeps them coming back year after year.
Because honestly, attracting new teachers, that's only half the battle, right?
Yeah.
The bigger challenge often is how do we keep those incredible educators engaged and passionate so they don't just burn out and leave?
Exactly. And to really understand this, we're going to be unpacking a super insightful article today called The Silent Exodus: What Really Keeps Great Teachers in the Classroom.
Catchy title, right? And it's written by a real powerhouse in the education world, Judy-Ann. So she's this award-winning educator with experience teaching all over the globe, the USA, the UK, even the UAE. She's done it all. And it's not just theory with her. She's been in the trenches. She's led professional development.
Mm-hmm.
She's been a literacy leader. I mean, they even call her a literacy guru, which I love.
It's a title you don't forget easily.
Yeah, and she really believes that teaching is about the heart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's heart work, she calls it. And that strong relationships with students are everything.
It's so true. You can have all the pedagogical theories in the world, but if you can't connect with your students on a human level, it's an uphill battle.
For sure. So back to the article. Our mission today is to dig into what Judy-Ann has to say about why some teachers thrive while others just fade away, and hopefully find some practical advice for our listeners, you know, those educators and leaders who are tuning in.
Because here's the thing, we talk a lot about recruiting new teachers, but the quiet departure of experienced educators, that's a crisis in itself, and it doesn't always get the attention it deserves.
Seriously, when we lose those seasoned teachers, we're not just losing an instructor in a classroom. We're losing years of accumulated wisdom strategies, relationships. It's a huge loss.
And Judy-Ann drives this point home right from the start with a really moving story about a teacher she calls Sarah White, obviously a pseudonym to protect her privacy. But Sarah's story is sadly not unique.
Yeah, after 8 years in the classroom, Sarah found herself packing up her things, her once lively space filled with, Socratic circles and student writing projects, now just bare walls and empty desks.
It's an image that really sticks with you, and it makes you wonder what happened, what led to that moment when a place that was once so full of purpose suddenly feels so empty.
Right. And a year later, Sarah reflected on her decision and talked about how she had gone through this period of huge personal growth, trying new things, discovering new passions. She even said she found herself again, but it was coupled with this strong need to break free from teaching.
And this begs the question for our listeners, what was it about teaching that started to feel like a cage rather than a calling for Sarah? When did that passion start to dwindle?
Because we need to figure that out if we want to keep other great teachers from feeling the same way. And Judy-Ann argues that Sarah's story isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a much larger trend, this silent exodus of talented and experienced educators.
Which, as you said earlier, has huge ripple effects not just on the students, but on entire school communities. You lose those mentors, those institutional memory holders, the people who can navigate the toughest situations because they've seen it all.
And that's where some of the research Judy-Ann cites really hits home. She talks about a study by Dr. Laura Bartlett, who followed 75 teachers over time.
Okay, and what did Dr. Bartlett find out about these teachers?
Well, what's really interesting is that only about 1/3 of them reported feeling truly satisfied with their careers, which kind of makes you wonder what made those satisfied teachers different from the rest.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. What was the secret sauce for that happy third?
Well, Bartlett's research highlighted one key factor: the teachers who felt the most fulfilled and engaged. They had a strong sense of voice.
Okay, I think a lot of people hear teacher voice and they think, oh, you mean letting teachers speak up at meetings? But it's obviously much deeper than that, right?
Yeah, it goes way beyond just being allowed to voice your opinion. It's about feeling like your professional expertise, your years of experience in the classroom are truly valued.
So it's about having a real impact.
Exactly. It's about feeling like your input actually shapes the decisions that affect your classroom, your students, your daily work.
So not just being heard, but actually being listened to and having your perspective influence real change.
Exactly. And Bartlett and Judy-Ann, they both argue that this sense of agency is absolutely crucial for teachers to feel satisfied and to want to stay in the profession long term.
Because let's be honest, nobody wants to feel like a cog in a machine.
Right. You want to feel like your contributions matter, that you're making a real difference. And when teachers feel empowered, they're more likely to be innovative, they're more invested in their work, they're just better teachers all around.
Which obviously benefits everyone, especially the students.
For sure. And this whole idea of voice, it really connects to another crucial element that Judy-Ann explores, and that's the role of leadership.
Because, let's face it, a school can have the best curriculum in the world, but if the leadership isn't supportive, it can make a teacher's life miserable.
Absolutely. And actually, Judy-Ann mentions a LinkedIn poll that found that supportive leadership and a positive school culture were the top factors influencing teacher retention, like way more than salary or even work-life balance.
Really? So even more than having a decent paycheck or manageable hours?
Yeah. The poll found that a whopping 56% of teachers said that leadership and school culture were the biggest reasons they stayed in a job.
Which kind of tells you that teachers are really craving supportive environments where they feel respected and valued.
Exactly. And so Judy-Ann really unpacks this idea, saying that supportive leadership isn't just about being nice or friendly. It's about being a true ally for teachers.
So stepping in when things get tough, having their backs advocating for their needs, and creating a space where they can really flourish.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that teachers are professionals with valuable expertise and that their well-being directly impacts the well-being of their students.
It's an ecosystem. You can't support one without supporting the other. And this leads to a really pointed question that Judy-Ann asks our listeners, especially those in leadership roles. She asks, are you creating a school culture where your teachers' voices are valued as much as their presence? Or are you silently watching your best practitioners pack their dreams into cardboard boxes and walk away?
It's a wake-up call, isn't it? Are we truly creating environments where teachers feel heard and respected, or are we just going through the motions?
Because the consequences of losing great teachers are real and lasting and beyond leadership. Judy-Ann also talks about the power of building strong professional communities within schools.
Yeah, and for this, she brings in the insights of Victor M. Pereira from the Harvard Graduate School of Education, no less.
So we're talking about a real expert on school culture and professional development.
For sure. And Pereira, he really emphasizes that school leaders need to move beyond those one-off professional development workshops. You know, the kind where everyone sits through a presentation for a few hours and then goes back to their classrooms.
Yeah, those can be helpful sometimes, but they're not enough to create lasting change.
Exactly. And so Pereira advocates for creating something he calls authentic communities of practice. And I think this is so valuable for any school.
I'm curious to hear more about what these communities actually look like in practice. So what makes them authentic?
Well, think of it as an ongoing support system led by teachers themselves. You know, it's a space where educators can connect, share their experiences, both the good and the bad, and learn from each other in a really genuine way.
So it's about creating a culture of collaboration and support where teachers aren't just colleagues, but they're also a team, a community.
Exactly. And these communities, they can provide so much emotional support for teachers, which we all know is crucial, especially in a profession as demanding as teaching.
Right, because let's be honest, sometimes you just need to vent to someone who gets it, someone who's been in the trenches with you.
For sure. And beyond that, these communities, they also offer opportunities for real professional growth. You know, teachers can share strategies, brainstorm solutions to problems, and just keep learning and growing together.
So it's a continuous cycle of improvement where everyone benefits.
And these communities, they're especially vital for new teachers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those who are just starting out and might be feeling a little overwhelmed.
Because let's face it, that first year of teaching can make or break you. It can be so tough.
Yeah, it's a trial by fire for sure. And so having a strong mentorship program within these communities can make all the difference.
It's about providing those new teachers with guidance, support, and a sense of belonging so they don't feel like they're out there on their own.
Exactly. And Judy-Ann, she really challenges school leaders to think about how they're creating this culture of care. Mm-hmm. She asks, in what ways are you actively creating a culture of care that encourages teachers to stay and not just survive in your school environment?
It's a big question, and it's about moving beyond just checking boxes, making sure that there's genuine support and that teachers feel cared for as human beings.
And she follows that up with another powerful question. What changes can you make to ensure that your mentoring efforts are not only about improving performance, but also about nurturing the well-being and long-term commitment of your teachers?
Because mentoring shouldn't just be about fixing problems. It should be about investing in people and helping them grow and thrive.
For sure. And the next big piece of the puzzle that Judy-Ann tackles is autonomy. The idea that we need to trust teachers as the professionals they are.
And this really resonates with something that was emphasized in a virtual discussion with education experts that Judy-Ann participated in. They were adamant that schools should be leveraging the expertise of their teachers, not suppressing it.
Right. We have all these talented, passionate educators with years of experience, and we should be tapping into that wisdom, not dictating everything from on high.
Because when teachers feel micromanaged or like their professional judgment isn't trusted, it can be incredibly demoralizing.
For sure. And Judy-Ann points out that there's often this disconnect. Schools might talk a big game about teacher voice and empowerment, but then the reality is very different.
Like those situations where you have all these top-down initiatives and mandates that leave teachers feeling like they have no real control over their own classrooms.
Exactly. And Judy-Ann calls this camouflage toxicity, where there are all these unrealistic expectations and a lack of genuine support, which can drive even the best teachers away.
It's almost like a bait and switch. You're promised autonomy and collaboration, but then you end up feeling stifled and unheard.
And the research backs this up. There's a clear link between the amount of autonomy teachers have in their work and their overall job satisfaction and their likelihood of staying in the profession.
Which makes sense. If you feel trusted and respected as a professional, you're going to be much more invested in your work and you're going to want to stick around.
Exactly. And so Judy-Ann poses another really crucial question to our listeners. What will you do now to retain teachers and to create a supportive environment where teachers of all backgrounds thrive? It's a call to action for all of us.
Because we all have a role to play in creating schools where teachers feel valued and supported, and to help guide us, Judy-Ann lays out a really comprehensive list of key elements that contribute to building sustainable teaching careers.
It's not a quick fix, but it's a roadmap for creating a school culture that truly prioritizes the well-being of teachers and, by extension, the well-being of students.
So first and foremost, it all starts with establishing genuine teacher voice, ensuring that teachers have a real say in the decisions that affect their classrooms and their students.
And that goes hand in hand with developing strong and supportive leadership at all levels. Leaders who are willing to listen to teachers, advocate for their needs, and create a culture of trust and respect.
Because a good leader isn't just a manager. They're a mentor, a champion for their teachers.
For sure. And beyond that, it's about recognizing and celebrating the hard work and dedication of teachers. Acknowledging their accomplishments, big and small, and making them feel valued and appreciated.
Because everyone needs a pat on the back. Sometimes a little bit of encouragement can go a long way.
Absolutely. And then there's the crucial element of respecting the autonomy and expertise of teachers. Trusting them to make decisions about their own classrooms and their own teaching practices.
Because teachers are professionals, they've gone through extensive training and they know their students best, so we need to give them the freedom to do what they do best.
Exactly. And then there are some other important pieces of the puzzle, like implementing clear whistleblower protections so teachers feel safe speaking up when they see something wrong.
And providing adequate resources and support. Making sure that teachers have the materials they need, the professional development opportunities, and just the general support to do their jobs effectively.
And ensuring that a healthy work-life balance is actually achievable. Teachers are human beings too. They have families and lives outside of school, and we need to respect that.
Right, because burnout is a real problem in education. And if we want to keep great teachers, we need to make sure that they're not working themselves to the bone. And it's important for teachers to feel like they have someone they can turn to if they need help.
Exactly. And finally, it's about creating equitable and meaningful pathways for professional growth.
Yeah.
Making sure that all teachers have opportunities to advance in their careers and to continue learning and developing their skills.
Because nobody wants to feel stuck in a dead-end job. Everyone deserves the chance to grow and to reach their full potential.
And Judy-Ann stresses that making all of this a reality, it's not just about one person or one policy. It requires a collective effort from everyone involved.
It's about creating a system, a culture that truly values and supports teachers and recognizes the vital role they play in shaping the future.
Exactly. And as we wrap up, I think it's important to circle back to where we started with Sarah White's story. When an experienced teacher leaves, it's not just about filling a vacancy. It's about losing a valuable member of the school community.
It's a loss of mentorship, institutional knowledge, those deep relationships that have been built over time. It's a real blow to the entire school ecosystem.
And so Judy-Ann's message is really clear. We need to be proactive about creating environments where teachers not only want to stay, but where they can thrive and flourish.
And that means implementing research-backed strategies, listening to the needs of educators, and creating schools where teachers feel valued, respected, and supported.
Because ultimately, when teachers thrive, students thrive, and that's what it's all about, right? Creating the best possible learning experiences for our young people. And she emphasizes that all stakeholders in education, we all have a responsibility to create these conditions for teachers.
Because retaining brilliant educators, it's not just about warm and fuzzy feelings. It's about investing in the future of our children and our society.
So here's a final thought for you, our listeners, to ponder as you go about your day. Considering how interconnected teacher well-being and student success are, what is one concrete action you can take right now within your own sphere of influence to make a difference?
Until next time, keep those conversations going, and let's work together to create a brighter future for everyone.
What a meaningful discussion. Thank you, Andy and Liz, for shining a light on the heart of what keeps passionate educators in the profession. And a special thanks to Judy-Ann Green for her powerful article, The Silent Exodus, reminding us of the importance of support, purpose, and community in education. If you'd like to read the full article and explore more resources, download EduVerse Newsletter, Issue 20, available now on our website, www.proed.com.vn/eduverse. And if you have your own story, insight, or strategy to share, we'd love to feature your voice in EduVerse. Submit your article and be part of a growing global conversation. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode of the EduVerse PD podcast, brought to you by ProEd Education Solutions.